What is up, people?
What's up, fam?
Man, welcome back to Preacher's Hour.
Quarantine edition.
Quarantine edition.
Jeff, back up. You too close, fam.
I thought you were being serious for a second. I don't know what to do. Sorry.
As far back as I can go.
No. Yeah, man. So,
wait a minute.
What?
Is that hand sanitizer?
It sure is. Sure is. Mm-hmm.
Let me.
Yeah, you probably need some.
Let me get a little bit of that. Since you got it, might as well.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is a hot commodity right now.
About $57 for this thing. Oh man.
I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, man.
It's a blessing to be alive, even though we're in quarantine.
Yes, it is.
Today was a good day.
Today was, well, for me, a great day. The last couple of days have been crazy. Guys, my wife and I got a house.
Whoop, whoop.
Adulting is terrifying.
I can imagine.
My anxiety's gone way up, but I'm like really excited about it.
Yeah. The
possibilities. More really just like God got a house.
Oh.
And he's letting us like
stay in
manage it because it's really going to be for him. Like that's the goal. We picked it just how can we hold Bible studies here? Like where can people sit and seating and, you know, we have rooms now. People can come if they need help or whatever. Like this is going to be
crazy.
This is God's house. And I'm really excited what we can do in that neighborhood.
Yeah. And
what God's going to do through us.
Which is sure, so just like this, the overall journey of like you and Selena, since we've like reconnected has been absolutely phenomenal. Like just to watch. I mean, remember like seeing you guys come to AV and like just like assimilate into like this culture this new culture that we were creating, and like now you guys are like also like helping like form it. Like, you know, you guys are like in the trenches forming this ministry and this church, and then to see Selena go from like I don't think God's speaking to me to like I'm gonna open my house up to the church. Like what?
Yeah, man,
dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, man, she's come a long way.
That's really cool. Shaween.
Yeah, man,
that's fantastic, bro. I'm happy for you guys. Like I'm happy for us.
Yes,
I'm gonna be at your house all the time.
Yes,
so it's gonna be
please
fantastic. Make sure the refrigerator's stocked though, because I'm gonna be hurt.
It's a big fridge.
Let's go.
And they threw it in too. That was the cool thing. We negotiated that in, so they threw it in.
Man,
house buying is scary, guys.
Hey, tell them the truth.
For those of you who have done it, you should have told me. I would have really appreciated a heads up,
man, because you had to wait a long time with your process, because like you.
Well, yeah, we started. Here's the thing, guys. Like, God's will is a real thing. If you try to do stuff on your own, all right, go ahead, try it.
You're gonna be on your own.
Yeah, because we tried to go out there all by ourselves and do everything on our own. They didn't consult God at all. We just hoped that he would co-sign. He did not. And so the process was just horrible. And so the second time around, we prayed a lot. We just really both like sought the Lord. We fasted and prayed. Like this is a really like, God, what do you want us to do? Because we feel like this is the area you want us to be in. We're supposed to be here, but like if this is the house, like let it be. But if it's not, like show us the house that you want.
Yeah.
And so we just decided to go out there, and like the process was like when it's his plan, boom, it was quick. I mean, it was quicker than every. Oh. All right.
And sign here, and here's
like
the keys.
Literally.
Wait, what?
Like house is like gonna be done this month.
That's crazy.
And it's like what we would want in there. It's better than what we were going to get. So it's crazy how what you think you want, God's like, I can actually have something better for you. If you go what I want, it's gonna be better.
Change is coming,
man. So yeah, man. Really grateful to the Lord. Yeah, man. I just hope that you guys hold me accountable. You hold me accountable.
Oh no, like, you know I got you.
With this is not for us. It is God's, and we just get to manage it. So
let's go till the wheels fall off, bro.
Yeah, man.
And I'm excited about that. So today on our episode, we just got done. So it's Monday night.
Yes.
And we just got done finishing up our Zoom call with our Youth for Christ teenagers. And let me tell y'all, man, that thing went ham tonight.
Yes. That was incredible.
I mean, this is like our 6th Zoom call, so like we're kind of getting used to being on the calls, and like we have like our faithful like 2 who are always there no matter what. And then today we had 3 people who've never been on the calls before join. That was fantastic. And then secondly, we had like people really share like intimate stuff, man. And there's been times when I've experienced like teenagers having joy that God spoke to them, but like tonight was just different.
Yeah, man.
Like that was crazy.
I was like teary-eyed. Like, I'm not kidding. Man, that had me so excited. I was like, wow. Like, to hear a young lady, 17 years old, like, speak with, like you said, the passion that she had.
Yeah.
But just like what she was saying, like what she was realizing about God and her connection to God at 17, I was just so encouraged and proud and like convicted and encouraged. Like, just, I was
all
like,
of it.
Let's go. I was
all
so juiced for that, man. Like,
you was. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, Jeff is really feeling
about
this
to
right now.
run around this furniture, man. I was so excited.
Yeah. So to give you guys a little bit of context of what just happened tonight. So we've been working with these students for a year and some months now, and we just been rocking with them. The majority of them are now seniors, and they go to church, but they haven't really like experienced God. So we felt like tonight our students are like really starting to experience God, and one of them, one of our young ladies, just kind of went in on how God has been speaking to her. So we normally do this thing on Monday nights where we talk about how goes your walk with Jesus. We just kind of go around and like ask everybody like, how's your walk with Jesus going? What's your journey like? Are you close to him? Are you distant, side by side? Are you like going ahead of him, like doing stuff without his permission? So like the young lady who shared, man, she was like, so everybody shared and she was last, which is weird because when I was choosing the people to go, and I kept on seeing like her screen would just be like the biggest one, and I'm like, I wanted to choose her, but I just, for some reason, I just didn't, and I like chose her last, and I have no idea why. But then after, I'm like, that makes sense.
God.
So she explained how, like, for the first time in a long time, or the first time ever, that like God literally spoke to her. Like, she was able to hear God, hear him clearly. And she was on TikTok, and she came across this one video where it just like really convicted her, and she was like, man, I was watching it and I watched a little bit of it, and then I had to like put my phone down. And when she said that, I'm like, that's what I do. When I get like really convicted off of social media, I'm like, let me put that down, let me get to my word. And so she had the same experience, and she went to her word and she read a verse, and then she started seeing that verse like throughout the week, like over and over and over again.
Multiple verses, and yeah, man, just her. She was like, I'm not this person. Like, usually, like, I'm not like, God, I can't do what you're telling me to do. But then she does it, and like, just the joy that she was receiving, that she was experiencing, it was just like spoke, man. It just really spoke to me, man. Like, I was just so like happy, because the craziest thing is, I'm 31. And I'm like dealing with similar things that she's dealing with at 17. So to hear her say that and be going through this now, I was so excited for her future.
Yeah,
so I'm like, dude, when you get to 31, you're gonna be,
it's gonna be on and popping.
You're gonna be walking on water out here. Like,
gonna be touching, your shadow gonna be touching people,
healing them. Yeah,
and
man.
I think that's the one thing that we that as the older generation, as millennials. We may be taken away from Gen Z. Is like their authentic connection to God, because a lot of times, like, even for us, like, I think because we were taught to like just listen and just do, we didn't really we weren't taught the truth. Like, sometimes you'll talk to God and he will not respond. Sometimes you'll talk to God and he will speak back to you, but in circumstances. Sometimes bad things will happen, and like, you still gotta trust him. We were just taught, just follow us, just do what we're doing and you'll be fine. Which is definitely not the truth. Like, it's not the truth at all.
Right.
And now we're seeing our students come to a real encounter with God, and they're excited about it. Like, to see, I think that was like my biggest thing, is like they were excited.
Yeah.
Like, how do
genuinely
like, yo, and even like one of our students, another young lady who was reading the book of Revelation and is like excited to read it. Like, I want to know more of how this thing unfolds, not because I want to like tell the future, but because I want to see my God. I want to see Jesus. Like, I can't wait to see how he comes to get us and like how we get to be reunited and like go to heaven. Like, I'm excited because he is the one orchestrating everything. And when I was a kid, like when I was their age, I just was not thinking about that kind of stuff, Jeff. Man, I was not.
Man, I think I read the book of Revelation. I must have been like early high school. I read the whole thing and it made no sense and it was super scary. And I was like, what is this? But just to see her do it and just, again, the way that these people speak, these young people speaking about the Lord, man, it's really, really cool. I was just thinking, like, God gets all the credit, but like the Lord got our generation, the ones of us that like stayed committed, because as you know, like millennials, most of us have left the church. Yeah. But God, the ones that God kept, us, like, are able to take our experiences of, like you said, like being taught incorrectly. Yeah. And we're able to tell this younger generation at their early age, hey, these are things to look out for. Like, this is how the really is. This is the truth. Yeah. So then I'm telling you, like, God has been able to use us and our negative experience to create a generation that's going to be like, they're going to change the world. Man. They're going to be amazing. The Lord delay is coming. Yeah, man. Wrap. I'm telling you, like, God's going to do some amazing things through these kids.
No doubt.
Soon. And I'm just happy we get to witness and be a part of it.
Even just to be in their lives and to see their progression from where they started. I mean, when I first started at Youth for Christ was like a year and like 5 months, I think, somewhere around there. And I met both of these young ladies my very first day. They were both there. And I remember telling them, like, all right, look, so like the majority of our Youth for Christ kids are white. So I walk in, this black dude, their first like real like black experience. So I walk in and, you know, we're talking for a little bit and I tell them, like, all right, so let's address the elephant in the room. I'm not white. Yeah. Y'all not black. This is not like my normal demographic. And I was being honest with them. I was like, I don't even know why God has placed me here. Like, I don't know if that's right to say for everybody, but like in that moment, I just told him, like, I don't know why. Like, I normally minister to kids in the hood. Like, I never ministered to kids whose parents own their homes. Like, never. Like, the majority of the kids they had apartments, and some of them had like even like really, really bad apartments. So we always had like a message of like hope and like, you know, don't worry about the bad times because God's coming through. And then you get a group of kids who don't really experience bad in the same way. Like, they don't experience bad the same way that the kids in the hood did. So I'm just like, God, what are you doing? And now I'm like, yo, I see what God is doing. He is raising up a generation of teenagers from the hood and teenagers from the suburbs, and he wants to like merge those cultures together and they're like gonna unite and they're gonna walk together. Like, they don't really care about if you have money, if you don't have money. Like, they're just like, can we just be friends? Like, can we just, like, we both love Jesus?
We have this thing in common, the ultimate thing in common,
and we can walk together in this journey. So I'm like,
they gonna do something, man. Something special's coming. God. I see you, God.
Dude, it's finna go ham in just a little bit. So I wanted to talk about
you gonna get that post, that apologetics post.
Oh yeah. That mug has like revolutionized the way that I see, hear, and understand apologetics, and even like when it comes to our youth. I think a lot of times we mess things up because we're trying to teach them how to defend like all the time, and it's like, it's not really about defending your faith. Like, we read that scripture in 1 Peter where it says, like, be ready to give an account for the faith that is within you. Yeah. But, like, we never read the next verse. We just read that one and we keep going with it. Yep. So, let me read that verse. I think it's 1 Peter. So, 1 Peter. All right, here we go. So it says, 1 Peter 3, chapter 3, verse 15. So this is the NLT version. So it says, instead, you must worship Christ as the Lord of your life. And if someone asks you about your hope as a believer. Always be ready to explain it. And then the next part says, but do this in gentleness and in a respectful way. Keep your conscience clear. Then people who speak out against you, they will be put to shame when they see what a good life you live because of Christ who lives in you. And it's like we forget the fact that like when we're doing apologetics, like the point is not for us to be right. Like it's not. We're not supposed to be like, oh yeah, got you, told you, bam, that's it. And you walk away, drop the mic, and whatever. Yeah. That's not the point. The point is to build a relationship with someone who doesn't know Jesus and introduce them to a love relationship, not a I told you so relationship, because that's the wrong approach.
Yeah, man. So I've said this on the podcast before, but like I went through a huge like apologetics phase.
You did.
I was like about it, bro. I knew all the arguments, everything.
Out there crushing.
So like first of all, if you're not familiar with apologetics, it is the ministry of defending the faith, mostly against arguments against religion or God or theism, any of that. The word apologetics comes from the Greek apologia, which is in that verse. And Peter says, be prepared to give an apologia for the hope that's within you. Okay. It's the Greek word. It just means an answer. Okay. So be ready to give an answer for the hope that's within you. But it says do it with gentleness and respect. So, you know, in the modern times, in 2020, there's all kinds of scientific and philosophical arguments against belief in God. And so, you know, I was like, I got to know all this stuff so I can like be able to like, you know, defend my God.
To be able to fight.
Go toe to toe in the ring. But the funny thing is, I do think that there is a place for apologetics. I think it is important. I think apologists are a necessary part of the body. Shout out to anybody who's an apologist. Like it's a difficult thing. I consider myself an apologist in some sense. I've had those discussions with people. But I think the ultimate apologetic is love.
Let's go.
Is loving each other. Put it in is there, Christians being united.
Say that.
I mean, it says it in John 17, like, by this they will know that you are my disciples if you love one. If you are united, if you are perfectly one, as I am in the Father, like, that's what they're going to know that the Father sent me. That's what Jesus says. So, like, if we were to, like, actually be united and not have all this division and denominations and things like that, that would be a very compelling argument to the world.
Yeah.
And to the people. If we actually genuinely loved people like we're supposed to, that would convince them way more than
trying to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
Like, most people are just not going to admit they were wrong. That's like,
especially when you hurt their pride.
Man, like the first thing I'm going to be defensive, even if I sound like a goofball. I'm still going to be like,
even if I know I'm wrong.
Like, I'm still going in. Like,
I ain't saying that.
So like,
read that.
What? Wait, what's that?
Criterion.
Never heard this word. Yeah. Okay, so it says our relationships with each other is the criterion the world uses to judge whether our message is truthful. This is from the Christian community in the Final Apologetic. And what they're talking about here is people are going to judge what we say by how we live with other people. So if we are to say, look, you know, our message is true, but we do it by, as we mentioned last week, cutting off people's ears, folks is going to be like, I don't want to hear you. I haven't heard an Indian proverb the other day that says, like, don't chop off somebody's nose and then give them a rose to smell. Like, you just cut my nose off. Like, don't give me good news and you just cut my ear off. Like, I don't want anything from you. And what we starting to do in our culture is we are trying to prove that we are right. And I'm gonna be. I don't really want to do this, but I feel like it's necessary. So I apologize in advance. But I think that like trying to be an apologist. On social media is the wrong approach.
I 1000% agree. 1000%. That's just not the place. Like, it wasn't designed. I don't think most of the Christian walk was designed to be apart. I think it's designed to be done face to face.
Yeah.
Not that technology is. I mean, obviously we're using technology right now to reach people, and this whole quarantine has forced us to do that, and it's been a blessing. But I do think trying to love people and love God has to be done face to face.
Yeah.
And trying to win arguments and comments and
I think
it's not gonna work.
The thing that ruins it for me is like, no, you can't feel love through through letters.
Yeah.
Like you if you don't know the person, like if you wrote me a letter, I can sincerely understand where you're coming from and how you're directing this message to me. Even if it was a harsh letter, like I would still know.
I think about Paul in the churches and letters he wrote. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like just daggers,
because
like,
they had a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like when I see people argue the Bible over social media, I cringe, bro.
I've been guilty of this, by the way.
Oh, Jeff, you're
my
one of
Facebook
those.
days. I was immature. As we talk about Uncle Rob maturity, I was not mature. I've matured now.
Hey, I'm glad because we couldn't hang out if that was you.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I've seen it done, and like I'll read it, and I'm reading the Christians, their responses, and they're all right. Yeah. They're all like 1,000% on point, biblically sound, and everything. And then like I'm just like, you said the right thing, but you did not do it the right way. You didn't say it the right way. My wife and I learned this like our first year in marriage classes, and it was like, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. Like you could tell somebody that there's good news, but you also can be like, you're going to hell, but hey, there's heaven too. Like, no, like that's not. It's not how you can do it. It's not the right way, not the right approach. And I really believe that Jesus was saying when he prayed for all of us, that we would be one, is that we would be in real relationship with each other.
Yes.
That we would be intimate with each other. And like that would cause other people to say, yo, why are you so different? Why are you being so nice to me? Why are you being so kind? Like we've heard stories like this all the time when someone in a high school is getting bullied, and then like the one Christian in the whole school goes to that person, like befriends them, and then they become best friends. And that person says like, why did you become my friend? And that person says, well, look, there was a time when I was down, and like Jesus came and like did this for me, and because they did it for me, I'm gonna do it for you. And that person comes to the Lord. That just sounds right.
Yes, that's just the right way. I will say, first of all, like, shout out to Ravi Zacharias International Ministries. Like that
guy
was so big for me as a Christian growing up. Like that, I would not be who I am without that.
What was the guy who passed away from cancer?
Nabil Qureshi, man, R.I.P. Nabil was. I looked up to him. The crazy thing about Nabil, when I was my first year teaching. I was teaching this unit on Islam, and I found a video of him. He was a Muslim,
right? And
he was like breaking down the 5 pillars of Islam. And then fast forward years later, I go on RVZ. I'm like, yo, I know this dude. I'm like, you're a Christian? Let's go. Like that dude had such a way of communicating truth. It was shout out to Nabil.
And
man,
the way
R.I.P.
he loved, like, I mean, I've never watched not one of his videos. I've read 3 of his quotes, and I'm like, dang,
that dude was something
like,
else,
how
man.
did you just like
34 years old, man,
and like wasn't even angry at God. Was just like, hey, I ran my race, and I'm trying to be as faithful as I can, even through all, like, got cancer and like passed away like months later. That's just like,
it was sad, but like, his wife and his kids are like, no, like we know where he's at. Like, I mean, it's just so cool to be able to live that life and like. And love people. I mean, and he went and debated with Muslims, but like he just did it in such a like gentle and respectful way. So like, just shout out to that whole team, because like I really feel like there's some of the people that are doing it the right way. But I just think what we have to be careful of as Christians is us trying to do the convicting.
Ooh,
like let the gospel convict.
Wow,
the gospel's gonna be convicting enough all by itself. We don't need to try to convict somebody. Now, if I have a relationship with you, you're already a believer. You're my brother. Yeah, I'm gonna call you out. Yeah, but a total non-believer who just doesn't know, it's not my job to convict you.
Not at all.
The gospel's going to do that. My job is to live the gospel in such a way that it speaks to, and I'm just so loving and gentle and caring for you genuinely. And then Jesus is going to convict you. Like the story of him, like, man, he died for me. Yeah. And I'm blah, blah, blah. Like let that do it.
I mean, I even think that like we serve as almost like a primer
Mm-hmm.
for the gospel. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like people would not pick up a Bible if it hadn't been for somebody
Mm-hmm.
to like show them kindness in order to pick it. I mean, not saying that God couldn't just make someone want to pick up a Bible one day, but like the majority of people who are like reading it and trying to understand it are people who like have been friends with a Christian and are trying to understand like how they got through either a difficult time or how they were so kind to someone who was not kind to them. I don't know. I've seen firsthand someone literally get cussed out like right in front of me. And then that person's like, I understand that you're upset and whatever I did to offend you, I apologize. And I'm hoping that like we can reconcile this. But like in the moment, what can I do for you? I just want you to leave. I just want you to get the F out of here. Okay, I'm out of here. And I love you. And Jesus does too. And I'm like, fam, how did you just do that?
Wow.
How did you just get cussed out? And not just cussed out, just like, it would be different if it was just me, that person, and the person doing the cussing. But it was like me, a group of people, and I'm like, bro, how do you humble yourself to that level and then take all this ridicule and then that person walk away and then you still go create a relationship? Like, not like, okay, I'm just gonna leave and then you go off and be mad by yourself. But like, even like 2 days later, you're just like, hey, have you heard from so-and-so? I'm like, no, I ain't talking to that dude. He just cussed you out. Why would I talk to him? And then he's like, no, like we have to like reconcile this relationship and we have to like get him back to God. And I'm like, how?
That's amazing.
Doesn't make any sense. But then that person receiving like a blessing, like it was a financial blessing from the person that they cussed out when they were in a time of real need. So they didn't talk for a while, but that person was like, someone told them like, hey, so-and-so doesn't have like their rent money. And that person, oh, okay, cool, I got it. Here, can you take it to him? I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Hey, this is from so-and-so. Really? Yeah. And it's okay. And then they literally like changed their tone of voice. They changed the way they saw things. Everything just kind of went differently. And I'm just like, yo, this is the gospel lived out. Taking an offense from someone and you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't necessarily do anything wrong. You didn't do anything to hurt anybody. And you were able to take this type of like persecution, still love the person, and then turn around and do extra for the person. Yeah. So I think a lot of times for us as Christians, we just say, all right, I tried, and we kind of give up. But like Jesus tried and tried again and tried again and tried again and tried again until he had to go and like become the sacrifice for us. Yeah. And that's what like brought us back to himself. So if anything, like if you're an apologist and you're trying to get someone to like live out the gospel, you're trying to get somebody to be convicted, love them. Yes. Like I think it's like Patience always says, like kill them with kindness. Like you have to like go in there and be extreme, like really kind, but like genuinely kind, not kind because I'm trying to convert you, but kind because God has been kind to you. Yeah. So I think that's like the approach like most people should take that they're not taking, but like it's going to be the best approach to try.
Yeah, I think so. There's 3 different examples from the RZIM team. Ravi Zacharias, when he was 17, he tried to commit suicide.
Really?
And when he was in the hospital, somebody came and brought him a Bible and said, hey, like read the book of John, and then left. And like he went on to start this whole thing. Whoa. And then both Nabil Qureshi and Abdu Murray, Abdu's like one of my favorites. Dude's a lawyer. Like his level of arguing is insane. But anyway, University of Michigan lawyer. But like he was a Muslim. Both of them were Muslims. And they had Christian friends that just like would stay in their lives and just like keep talking to him. And they're like, finally, like both of them tried to like, you know what, I'm going to disprove your Jesus. And then through that and the connection from that person, they both got saved.
What?
So it's like,
bro, that is insane.
But it's just like, all we got to do is just stick in there and be in people's lives and like genuinely care about them. Yeah. And or it could be a total stranger like Ravi Zacharias, but it's like you said, usually it's somebody coming into this person's life and it's an act of love or repeated acts of love. That's the thing that's going to do it. Like you don't have to come in trying to even really convert people.
No, it's not our job.
Like you said, we're just a primer. Like let's live out the gospel.
Yeah.
Let's live like Jesus to these people and let that be our apologetic. And then let's live in front of them and even just in behind closed doors, like in actual unity with our brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And that's going to show the world. Again, apologetics is a necessary ministry. we need, I know for a fact, especially in this generation and future generations, like the internet is a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
And when you grow up and then you kind of go off into college and you're like on your own and there's all these arguments and they sound super smart and they're very convincing and you're like, I don't know what I believe. And it's like, dang, like you need to have people to be able to go on YouTube and like find these videos of Robert Zacharias and his team, like going to colleges and doing these question and answers and like having these answers to these difficult questions. And I'm like,
dang,
that was so big for me as a young Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like that doubt starts creeping, like, man, like maybe this all isn't real. But then these guys have like, there's people that are incredibly intelligent, well educated, like
they've like done their research,
and they've done their stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, cool, like
I'm not insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very necessary. But I do think, and they'll even tell you, like, we need love. Like, love is going to do way more work in this world than any apologetics work.
Yeah, than even answering questions. I mean, there's one thing that you could, answer somebody's question, but it's another when you go above and beyond and like meet that person's need.
Yeah, Robbie always says behind every question is a questioner. So always remember that. It's not about the question, it's about the person asking the question.
Yeah.
That's who you're trying to deal with, not the question.
That's fantastic. And as I look at this, man, I'm just like, we have an opportunity for us and where we are with apologetics to like train up really like kids to do the same thing. I mean, hearing what we heard tonight from our students and like coupling that with their apologetics, like, so the reason why we're even in the apologetics field is because like these kids now want to create social media.
They want to make Christian TikTok,
like turn their actual page into a Christian TikTok so that they could like reach people with the gospel. And at first it's like, okay, you just want likes and follows and whatever, but you can tell that these kids don't care. Like,
nah, man. And the cool thing to hear them say, like, when I post my stuff, I would get like, a couple likes, but when I'm posting stuff about Jesus, like it gets so much attention. It's like, and they said, I know it's not about me.
Yes.
And it's like, man, that's so powerful for you to get that now and to just turn over your little social media over to the Lord. Like, who knows what he can do with you and with this thing,
man. I mean, the fact is, and what they came to understand even after our conversation was like, even if only one person comes, like it is worth it. Because like it's serving God is like a twofold thing. Like, it's good for other people and it's also good for you.
Yes.
So as you are making these TikToks, you're reading the Bible, you're trying to come up with like creative ways to share the gospel. As you do this, you then grow yourself in the Lord, and then you get to share that with other people. So I'm like in awe of what God has done, because honestly, this journey has been weird from the jump. So even going into Youth for Christ at basically at an all white campus, and like not having like context of like why I'm there, and then to be here a year later, like, wow, God has, like, you didn't tell me in the beginning, and I'm glad you didn't, because I probably would have been like, I ain't doing it. But I get to see the fact that like you've been working through me to help these teenagers understand, like, really one, would it be like Christian diversity, just like your church is not the only church on the planet.
Man.
There's more churches out here, there's more people out here, and you got to be diverse in just your life, not just like, because even like denominationally we need to be diverse. Like, we were missing so much by being separated all the time. But once they understood that, then it's like, okay, your friends need to look different, and your views need to be challenged as a teenager. Like, you don't want to just be around people who always think the same way you do, because then you never grow. So then they actually do it, and now they're to the point where like they want to share the gospel through social media.
They really want to share the gospel with people, their family members. What she said about like, I want to share with my dad, and like
that's what it's, like,
that's what it's all about, man.
Like, it's not about being right. It's not about like being able to prove somebody wrong. Like, it's not about none of that. Like, if you're the listener and you're just like, I'm really trying to like get this person to understand, love them into understanding. Like, whatever you want to do it with love, and like that is going to win them over.
And it doesn't mean you don't stick and hold to the truth.
True.
It doesn't mean you're just like compromising all the time. You can still hold to the truth, but remember, the truth is a person. And that person is love at the same time. So you gotta have both.
And he walked the dusty streets of Palestine.
40 into a generation.
But when you think about like just doing apologetics, like the same way that like you as a listener, if you're a Christian, the same way you got into the faith, like when someone really showed it to you for real, because like there are people who are Christians and there are Christians like
in
by
name only,
yeah, like no action. But then you have Christians who have like lived it, and then like they've done the things that people said to do, and none of that stuff worked. And then they were like, let me see if I could just like find Jesus for myself, like not my grandma's Jesus, not my mom's Jesus, but like let me find Jesus for me. And I'm telling y'all, like that is the most beautiful feeling, to get to a point where you're like, Jesus, we have a relationship.
Yeah, man.
Like we have our own relationship. It has nothing to do with anybody. Literally everybody else can leave you, and like I'm gonna be like, where am I go?
Yeah,
you've been here this whole time. So like when you come to relations like that, that's what it's about. That's what makes it worth it to be a believer, and to see other people become believers when they start to realize, I can have my own relationship with Jesus.
Man. I think that's the main of any apologetics, and especially what we do working with these kids is like, and it's really been like put on me, and it seems so simple, but I really wish the church would focus on this. Is just focus on relationship with Jesus, focus on relationship with God. Like that's the main thing we should be teaching. Like I just think back to my upbringing when I was these kids' age, and I didn't understand that. I understood being a Christian as like memorizing a bunch of verses, like behaving good, like not doing bad things. And then when you do bad things, you feel terrible. You're like, I don't know. And you start, maybe I just need to memorize more verses and go to I have to go to the building. Yeah. And that's the whole, and go to these Bible studies. I have to be doing these different things, checking these boxes. And that's being a Christian. And it wasn't until like very recently in my life that I learned, and I'm still learning, that the God of the universe wants a personal love relationship with me.
It's crazy.
Like actually me. And like he really pursues it.
Like for I was listening to our brother Will. He had a TikTok, and he was talking about playing tag with his
Will's
son.
TikTok.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie,
thing
like
is murder.
At first I was like, is he really doing this? And then I started watching them, and I'm
I
like,
love them,
dude. I could watch these all day. They're so deep. They're so deep. So today he had one. I don't know when he posted it, but I saw it today, and he was like, he said like, me and my son were playing tag, and what he realized was his sons, they rather be chased than to be it. So like being it, like you have to do the chasing, but like not being it means you get to do the running, and someone pursues you. And he said there's something in like being pursued, like that makes you feel worthy, that makes you feel like valuable, that makes you feel like, you know, you want to be pursued. But like being it, you're just kind of like, oh, I'm already here. Like I don't want to already be here. I want to be like chased after. And then the feeling that you get when you get tagged in a love relationship, it's like, oh, you got me, and then you get to switch, and then like the other person gets to pursue, and you get to have like this fun exchange, and everybody's having a great time. And he said like, this is the same way Jesus has pursued us. Like we get to be pursued by him, and then once we finally get tagged, then we're it. We get to go pursue other people in loving relationships. And I'm just like, mind blown, fam. Like I'm like, now I'm like, I'm it. Like, let me find someone to go tag to, like, show them show them what it feels like. Oh man, that's what it should be about. Showing people what it feels like to be pursued. Have you ever been like in a place where like you just like, well, nobody cares about me, nobody, and then someone just shows up and is like, or I've had this a couple times, but not recently, where someone shows up and is like, here you go, like, I've been trying to get in contact with you, just trying to check on you, see how you're doing, genuinely, and then like continue that. One person that did that for me is Josiah.
Yeah, man, he's like, always pursuing. It's so cool, man.
Like I'm just like, yo, how
that's
did this,
real. Like
how did this
we
happen?
Get to be like, we get to act out God pursuing people in a love relationship. Like, man. Like we're the evidence that God is pursuing you.
Come on, Jeffrey.
Like I get to be the evidence. Like, hey, I just want you. Just so you know, this is God pursuing you. He's just using me to show you that he's pursuing you.
Man,
that's fire.
Because you get to see
Holy
that.
Spirit.
Man, he is okay. Go ahead. He's working on us so that we can go after others, and when we do it in love, you just feel like if you've ever been in a relationship, you know what it feels like when you get like that, like, hey, how you doing text. like, you know, what you've been up to. I was thinking about you, especially when it's from somebody that you genuinely care about. You get that text message, you're just like, yo, you felt the need to hit me up. Like, that's dope. And then you do that and you continue to do that. And then like you start taking bigger steps where at first it's text messages. Now it's phone calls. Now it's FaceTimes.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm literally at your front door. Like, that type of progression shows that you are valued, that you have purpose, that like someone is caring for you on a deeper level than just I'm trying to get something from you. It's like, no, I'm done trying to get something from I'm pursuing you for you. And then you get married. And then you're just like, yo, we made it to this point. How can we share this with other people? Like, how can we tell other people, like, being married is great. Like, being married to Jessica is like one of the best things I've like done. Like, other than like accepting Jesus as my savior. Yeah. I keep looking back and like, yo, this woman stuck with me when I was at my worst. And like, now I'm like going to spend the rest of my life like repaying her for what she did for me way back when. I mean, she even helped me to realize, like, not realize, but through the Holy Spirit convicting her, saved me from becoming a Hebrew Israelite. Like, I was literally heading that way. And she was just like, I don't know what to do. So she started talking to other people, started praying for me, and like started reaching out to like my mom, who her and my mom didn't have a good relationship at the time. So for her to do that was like crazy. You know that's God. So she was like, wow. Hey, I'm going for it. And my mom talked to me and like some other people talked to me, and I was like, all right, let me sit down with some brothers and like, let me hash this out. Let me like really think about this. And like, when I think back to that, like that type of pursuit showed me that like Jess thinks I'm valuable. Jess thinks I'm worthy. The same way that Jessica thought I was worthy, God thinks y'all are worthy. God looks at you and is like, I am trying to get to know you. I'm not trying to take anything from you. I don't want to like.
It's not a transaction.
I'm not trying to like. The crazy thing is like God is not even trying to stop you from sinning. Like, he's trying to pursue you so that you can get to know him, and then you will want to stop sinning because of who he is. Yes. And when you move in that direction, bro, there's nothing that can stop you. Nothing.
You better preach. This is preacher's hour.
I'll be trying. I'm sorry, y'all.
Better preach.
Sometimes I just get like it's be coming in and just like spewing it out, and I'm just. And then the funny thing about like being a preacher and like when God's like talking to you while you're speaking, you walk away and you be like, "What did I say?" And I'll re-listen to the podcast. I'm like, "Dang, that's deep."
Every time.
That's not me.
Every time.
That's like, not me.
Yeah, man.
You said every time.
Like, I just preaching on Friday was weird.
Oh yeah.
Because it was, so the crazy thing about it, and it was something Jess had said on the Zoom call, when you're just spending your alone time with God and his word, you're not even doing it to like prepare a sermon. It's a totally different type of reading. So I've just been reading Jeremiah just on my own, and like what I preached was just stuff that God was showing me. Yeah. And so it almost felt weird to like telling other people about it and trying to turn it into a sermon. It kind of felt forced. Like, I know God was with it, but I also kind of like I was trying to like make it profound and like make it you know, I don't know, impressive or bigger
like, than what it was.
Yeah, and it's just like, yo, if you get this, you get it. But this is just what God was telling me.
And I think that's something that we need to practice, like even with like sharing the gospel with people. If you're reading it, like if you're reading something, if you're like going through a particular book of the Bible and you're sharing that, just tell the person like, I'm not like trying to preach to you, I'm just sharing this because this is one thing like for AV. I've been wanting to preach in AV for a while now, but it's like I don't want to preach like anyone. I'm more of like a conversational person, so I'm like, yo guys, I was reading this verse and I just want to like bounce some things off y'all. And then as I'm speaking, like the whole, like even right now, like on our podcast, this happens often. All the time. We just talk on here. And as we talk, like the Spirit is talking to us, and then we just kind of like let whatever he says flow through the airways. And we start to like connect with God in new ways. So even with our listeners, like y'all could feel a connection because it's not us, not Jeff and I. It's literally the Holy Spirit that's in me and Jeff that's speaking. And then while you're in your car, your Holy Spirit is like, oh snap, okay, cool, I got this. And you get to rock with that like throughout the day. So the same way that happens, like I want my preaching to be the same. I don't want it to be like, I don't want it to be a performance.
No, that's the biggest thing, man,
because it's really ugly,
and it's such a temptation.
It is,
because like that's what's been presented to us as preaching.
Something
So I'm
like,
just trying to fight against that.
and how we should like stir people up. Like
Mhm.
that's everybody don't stir the same. Some people use forearm. Some people use their wrist. Some people just use fingers. We don't all stir the same. So if like someone wants to be like a Michael Todd, if that's your gift, be a Michael Todd. Like preach the way you're supposed to. But if you're not like gifted, like don't feel a need to have to perform.
Mm-mm.
It's not a necessity. Performance is the thing that like
Just
really
speak to what has convicted you and what's spoken to you.
Yeah.
If your sermon doesn't preach to you, it's not gonna preach to anybody else.
Let's go. Vlad said it's a two-edged sword, so we gotta cut you.
Gotta cut you. That's what we talked about last week. It's gotta cut you too.
Man, I'm telling you, fam. Like some of these things, I'm just like, God, just even after the podcast, like continue to speak. Like I don't like getting like these type of moments and like getting all like fired up and like feeling him speak, and then like shutting down the podcast, packing up, going home, and it's been like, and then going doing something else. It's like I just want to like rest in this.
Yeah, you want to stay in it.
Yeah,
I totally understand that.
Like God is real.
He keeps reminding me of that, and it's like I need to keep being reminded. That's why I told after she said what our student.
Oh yeah.
I was like, look, you need to remember this because there's going to come a time where you forget that you had this experience. You can't, and I'm talking to me. I was literally projecting on her like what I was trying to hear, what I need to hear. It's like, look, you've had too many experiences with God to not believe in him.
Yeah.
You've seen him do too many things to have any doubt.
Yeah.
So remember the things that he's done, and don't be like, okay, that was great, but I need another one, God. Like,
dude,
I struggle with that.
With Joshua was crossing over the Jordan River, and as they were crossing, he told everyone like grab stones and to build an altar, and it's to put these stones in the river so they would remember the time when God split the Red Sea and when he split the Jordan. And like when the people were doing it, I think it was Tony Evans was preaching it. He's like, when the people were doing it, he said in his sanctified imagination he can see them like writing stuff in the stone, like, hey, I also remember when you did this. I also remember the pillar of fire. I also remember, and they placed it in the Jordan. And it's like we have to do this in our own minds. Altars. In our minds, like what God has done. Because the thing about human beings, we are fickle,
quick to forget.
We forget instantly. Like, like washing your hands. Like it was a big thing a couple weeks ago. Now it's just like, oh, we in this. We already used to it. Like Zoom calls. At first you got super dressed up. Now you just like all nonchalant. Like we forget so fast of what has taken place. And God has done amazing things in our lives that we have to take note of, and we have to like store them, and we have to think about them. So what I started doing on Thursdays, which is like normally like my rest day, is I'll sit in this garage and I will try to think about all the things that God did for me. Literally with anywhere in my life. I'm just like, okay, God, would you bring to my memory like things you've already done so I don't forget that you are God. And he'll bring up stuff from like my childhood or stuff that like I haven't thought about in years, and I'm like, oh that was you. Okay, God, dang, I didn't even know
it is you.
So it helps me to stay connected, and helps me to remember and to not forsake God, because he's always around. He's never left you. He's never forsaken you. And he will be with you until the ends of the earth. So always give yourself a time and a place to just remember what he's done. Place those stones of remembrance in your mind and like hold on to them so that you don't forget how good God has been.
Amen.
Hey.
Yeah, man. So I think that was great. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Man.
Showing up again. So I said this last time. I tried to get the last episode on YouTube. Wasn't working. But we got a camera.
We did.
Okay, so we're pointing at it. So hopefully this one gets on YouTube.
Man.
I'm gonna work tirelessly.
You can do it,
guys,
Jeff.
to get this thing on YouTube. Are you able to, you know how to get the link to our YouTube channel on our link tree on Instagram?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So yeah, we'll get that going.
That's gonna be crazy.
I already made it into a channel.
I don't even know how we should like interact with the camera, and
I have no
like,
idea, but we'll get used to it.
It's weird.
Yeah, but
it's a nice camera though.
Yeah, we'll see. It should get the job done in the meantime. Yeah, man. We love you guys.
Yes.
Stay safe out there. Keep washing your hands. Brandon just reminded you. Wash your hands. Keep doing that. Yeah. And yeah, man. We'll see you on the next one.
All right, fam. Love y'all.
Peace.